And welcome to another edition of Bury Your Bookie. I'm Jeff DeForrest. We start right out at the top with our good friend Troy West, who's been just killing it on the tournament so far. And it's not just the NCAA tournament. This guy will bet anything. He will bet on two roaches to make their way into the drain, see who's going to get there faster when he turns the light on in the kitchen. That's what kind of degenerate this man is, and he's been doing it with tremendous insight and acumen. He's betting NIT, he's betting CBI, he's betting that other crazy Meshuggah tournament that's going on. I can't even differentiate. I turned on a game last night. I thought it was an NIT game. Turned out it was a CBI game. Does it really matter? Because the focus is on the NCAA tournament, and then beyond that, if you're a gambler, I guess it doesn't matter, right, Troy? I mean, are you profiting as much or more maybe from the NIT or some of these other subsidiary type of tournaments where
No,
everybody is blowing their brains out because they can't beat a favorite in the NCAA brackets?
normally I would say yes, but you're right. No, I mean the tournament as actually if you listen to I think on your show and other shows that I've been on, the tournament's gone exactly how I thought it was going to go. Ever since we struck these NIL deals, man, I'm telling you, I don't think we're going to see as much parity in these tournaments as we have in the past. The small guy just doesn't have the funding to keep up with the big guys, and then the big guys they just keep recycling. I mean, come on, look, 1,700 guys in the transfer portal
Imagine.
already. But no, the favorites, man. I mean, 8 points or more are 18-0 straight up against the spread. Favorites are covering left and right. I thought it would be a chalk tournament. That's what we got, and it's been good for guys like me that aren't going to sit there and bet dogs all the time.
Unbelievable, yeah. And nothing worse. It's kind of like a guy that shows he was losing tickets at the track. He's got trifecta. He's got everything except he left one horse off the ticket to show in the third position, and he's agonizing over it and puts it in your face. He goes, "Look at this! I can't believe I left out the four." And now, equally as annoying is when you ask somebody about, "Hey, how you doing in your bracket?" And do you really care about the answer? No, nobody cares how some other schmuck is doing in the bracket. So it's just an obligatory sort of a cordial question. "Hey, how your brackets holding up?" And the guy says, "Well, all of my Final Four teams are still alive," and he's got the four number one seeds. And you're
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
go bleep yourself, man. We don't need to talk about anything if this is what you're going to tell me. If you're betting the games, Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for betting on all of the madness. Even if your bracket is busted, which a lot of people are still pretty much intact, Bet Online has more ways to stay in the action with a free Sweet 16 bracket and live betting on every remaining tournament game with the largest selection of odds on everything from college basketball, MLB opening days tomorrow, the NHL, which Troy has a horror story about. We'll get to in a second. MMA. BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source from every Cinderella story. Sounds like I wrote this. I didn't. To every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right. Yeah, you mentioned you pretty much did outline this. You said that you weren't going to see a lot of deep, low seeds prevailing. I don't think anything deeper than a 12 versus 5. There were two of those in the first round was able to prevail. McNeese got knocked out. Colorado State in a heartbreaker, probably the best game or finish anyway of the tournament so far. Reminiscent of that championship game between North Carolina and Villanova with Archidiakonou, where North Carolina hits a shot, a miracle shot to take the lead late in the ball game after it looked like they were going to go down the entire time. And Michael Jordan goes right through the ceiling of Energy Stadium, cheering and celebrating. Everybody thinks it's over. And sure enough, Villanova runs down the court there with little time left, a couple of seconds, hoists up a three, and boom, they end up winning the game. That was kind of, that was the most exciting one, Maryland and Colorado State. And it was especially exciting because I desperately needed Maryland. Speaking of guys that are going to bore you to tears by talking about their brackets, but and that looked like it was hopelessly lost all the way through until the very very end when you got Queen off of what 6 steps. There's
Yes,
going
they
to be
did.
some kind of movement. I mean, and this is something interesting where I mean, you have so many people now. They're issuing death threats to officials and players. It's kind of insane what's happened. And I also, I'm curious. I mean, should there not be any, some kind of public disclosure of how much NIL money a team is spending? Because that would be as big an indicator as, any sabermetrics or analytic number, Ken Palm numbers. It seems like if you just followed the money, you'd be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm curious, what Calipari in Arkansas has done. I mean, what a quick turnaround there. Rick Pitino's another guy. I love the guy, but what did he spend at St. John's to get where he got? It's crazy. Like you said, it's absolutely crazy. The referees, I mean, the travel calls have been. I'll give him a little bit of credit on that one, just at the point in the game. It's like, can you imagine? I mean, that game was played in Seattle. We were talking about it yesterday. Can you imagine if the ref did blow it and waved it off and gave you one of these? I mean,
Yeah.
holy smokes. I mean, you're probably looking at more death threats that way
The
than the
problem with it
other
is
way.
they don't call travel during the course of the game,
Correct. Correct.
which
Yep.
is one of those things I guess every fan or every bettor especially has a beef with, which is, okay, I don't mind if you let it go at the end of the game, as long as you were doing the same thing throughout the game. But if all of a sudden the rules change at the climactic moment of a ball game, and it affects the outcome as to who's going to win or lose, and millions of dollars are going to switch sides on that, then be consistent. That's all you ask of any officiating crew. Yeah, I mean, it's we always say it. The Euro step pretty much is enough steps to traverse an entire continent, much less
Yep,
get
that's
free in the
true.
paint. But yeah, that would have been tough. They couldn't have called that there, and the guy did make a tough shot at least. So
Yep.
you don't feel
Yep.
like they just gave it to him, but that was an improbable finish. Outside of that, though, not a ton of drama though in the tournament so far.
Not a lot. I mean, a couple teams that I like that I'm still watching closely. Ole Miss. I mean, that's been a lot of fun. That's a really cool team to watch.
Were you on
Just
them?
well rounded.
Because nobody else was.
Yeah, you know what? I've got them in the Elite Eight. I was
Oh,
telling your good friend AJ yesterday. I'm in a bracket. It's a big money bracket. I'm in 9 out of 9,000. But
wow.
the big differentiator is Ole Miss. If Ole Miss can take care of Michigan State this week, you get more points for getting your teams in the Elite Eight. That was one of the big differences. So we'll see. We'll see. Like, I'm not going to talk about the bracket. A lot of great games this weekend, but Ole Miss has been a great story. Arkansas has been a phenomenal story. Tip your cap to Calipari. I mean, unbelievable. Um, I saw a great stat. It's not even a stat; it's a fact. The little musical chairs that Calipari did. BYU still in the tournament, and then obviously Kentucky just got But how cool is that to see those three teams still rocking and rolling?
Yeah, St. John's has itself to blame. You couldn't put up any more of a brick fest than St. John's did. I know going in, we knew they were a lousy perimeter team and were literally throwing boulders up there from the free throw line. And I thought that was a recipe for disaster. There were a lot of people that like St. John's 25-1 to win the tournament. I thought that was really far fetched.
I did too. Yeah.
I did think they would. I had them beating Arkansas, but I mean, if they make two shots, they are in that game. But their star player goes 3 for 17, ends up on the bench. That was a source of controversy in New York. But what were you going to do? I mean, let him be John Starks. I'm not sure if there was more underlying turmoil there, or any kind of acrimony between Patino and Luis. But it was weird to see that because no one else was making any shots. So why wouldn't you throw the guy back out there? I don't know. What were you screaming at the television set, or were you all over Arkansas in that?
Uh, didn't have any skin in that game, but I was surprised. I was surprised, especially when you go the entire season the way that St. John's did. I mean, that's no way to go out. You got to go out with the guys that got you there. So I was a little surprised by Patino doing that, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with that roster next year. I know Patino did a fantastic job, but that's no way to go out. That's how you have guys enter the portal.
Yeah, Mike Rapoli, of course, bankrolling much of St. John's NIL money, and Rapoli was the guy behind Vitamin Water, which I thought was a garbage product. I didn't think much of it. I don't know about you. I never see anybody with a bottle of vitamin water. He sold a company for billions of dollars, and then got heavily into thoroughbred racing, where he's had nothing but massive success. I mean, to the point where you would think that you'd see like a turban on his head at some point, because it looks like he has to be part of like Godolphin Stables or some Saudi Arabian sheik. But yeah, and there's a connection there because Patino was involved in horse racing, and they got together, and Rapoli is not going to run out of capital anytime soon. So I think you'll see St. John's remain prominent, and an interesting coaching carousel. Usually, that's the thing to watch. Now you're seeing players change teams during the course of the tournament. When is that going to happen, Troy? Where a guy is playing for like Michigan State into the Sweet 16, and then all of a sudden he's lining up for Kentucky. Because the
It,
transfer portal opens up while the tournament is going on, which has to be talk about a distraction, my friend.
I've never understood that, and the NIL money is that one thing to let guys transfer over and over and over. That's another thing. It blows my mind, and then the cherry on top, I cannot believe, like you said, that they open it up. I mean, you can't wait an extra 2 weeks to open it up. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know who that's affecting. That's mind blowing to me, and I hope it changes quick.
All right. So let's get to it, Troy West. I don't know if you have action on any of tonight's games. I do want to hear your hockey horror story, though, because I love hockey horror stories. It's great. I mean, putting
I
a
was
mask
looking at
on
this
Terry
one
Sletcher.
closely
Yeah.
yesterday. We made our official card. Calgary Kraken under 6. I mean, at the end of the first period, it was 1-0 Calgary, so you're sitting great. Even at the end of the second period, it's 2-1. You're still thinking you're fine. You've got four goals to play with, 3 for a push. With about 9 minutes to go in the game, it's still 2-1. Calgary ties the game up 2-2. So now you're going, okay, we're still okay. Let's just get to overtime. You win. Calgary scores again with about 4 minutes to go to the game, makes it 3-2. So now you're starting to sweat bullets. And then the Kraken tie the game with a minute to go in the game to make it 3-3. So even if you get the empty net, you win 4-2, you get the push, you move on to tomorrow. Kraken come back, score with a minute to go. They ultimately go to overtime, and Calgary prevails 4-3. So
Unburial.
unbelievable. I mean, just unbelievable that the game can go, damn near 45 minutes with 3 goals. Then all of a sudden you get four in the final 5 minutes. But that's hockey. That's hockey, like
Yeah,
you
one of the
said.
tournament games was like that, where it was way to the under inside of maybe even a minute left, and then there was a phenomenal number of points scored. The outcome, I don't think changed, but certainly for the over/under players, it seemed impossible. I was watching that on Bad Beats with Scott Van Pelt.
Oh,
I mean, I'm looking at this. It was horrifying what happened, but this is the reason that, as I've said many times, degenerate gamblers, when they check out, they take that last breath. They die with their mouths wide open because the last thing that you see that flashes before you is the amount of money that you lost in your lifetime, and you're sitting there going, "What?" It's rough.
yep,
All
yep.
right, let's make some money for the people out there. We have tournament action coming up Thursday and Friday, and all kinds of other stuff. Opening day of the Major League Baseball season. Still have NBA activity with some games that might decipher juxtaposition there as to who's in the play-in games. A lot of teams bunched up in both the East and the West, and what kind of seeding they're going to get for the finals. So still some meaningful games there. You've got the NHL also in a similar situation. Where are you turning your attention with the
I'm going to
boys?
go all Thursday. I'm going to go all Thursday for the people. We'll give you some tournament games, and I'll give you an opening day baseball game. But the basketball, man, it's intriguing, very intriguing lines. I'm looking at these lines very closely, and I'm thinking, man, you're giving these underdogs a lot of points. I'm going to grab BYU plus 5.5. They're getting 5.5 against Alabama. BYU, boy, that's a really good basketball team. We talked about them going into the tournament, how talented this team were. The total in that game is 175.5. I don't think I've ever seen a tournament total that high. I'm going to stay away from that, but that's pretty funny to see. That's a lot of points. Maryland is getting 6.5 against Florida. That's intriguing. Maryland again. That's a good basketball team. Florida looked vulnerable against UConn. They ultimately pulled away, but UConn bricked 21 threes in that game. I think Maryland, I'm not going to say neither of these teams, I'm going to say win the game, but I think you're going to look at some good basketball games here.
All right, very good. And where are we going to make some money, though? I mean, what are you plunging on?
I'm liking Texas Tech on Thursday night minus 5.5. They're the better team. Arkansas, outstanding, great run. They're lengthy. I get it, but I think Texas Tech blows them out. And then opening day baseball. Love this game. I'm going to trend on this one all year long. Defo, the Seattle Mariners and the Oakland A's. I'm going under 6.5. Luis Severino, you probably remember that name. I didn't
Yeah.
even realize he was the number one for Oakland this year. My God, the guy goes from the Yankees to the Mets to the Oakland A's, and we can't even call them Oakland anymore. I actually just
Oh,
saw that they're just the Athletics. But that's six and a
where are they
half.
playing? In
Love them.
like Fresno? I mean, they're in some
Uh,
minor league park, I believe.
I believe it is in Sacramento or Fresno. Yeah, and then they got the Mariners Thursday night. Logan Gilbert on the bump. 6.5, not enough. I think that's a 3-1, 2-0 type of baseball game. I'll take the under on that.
All right, very good. Any inclination to bet season totals in Major League Baseball? Any teams that you're looking at?
I don't have them all right in front of me. I know Texas Rangers, that's going to be a good team this year. They've got a great lineup. Their pitching should be a little bit better. We'll see if DeGrom, what he gives them this year, but Texas will be good. I actually like the hometown Mariners here. Their total's sitting at about 85. I think they go over that. They've got the best pitching staff in baseball. The bullpen's going to be good. And I expect the hitting to be a little bit better. The hitting's been brutal, but I expect it to be a little bit better. So I do like that. I do like the Mariners plus 250 to win the West. That's another one that looks pretty juicy. That's just a good Mariner team this year in the West. With the Athletics, the Angels, the Rangers, and the Astros being down this year, I think there's a real opportunity for the Mariners to step up and potentially grab the West.
You must be ready to just bring a satchel full of cash into that Native American casino there in Seattle if you're betting all of these futures. And so yeah, very very interesting. There's no steam here. They have literally fleeced the romance out of opening day. They've sucked the romance right out of the game of baseball in South Florida here in Miami. As the Marlins, I can name you. I live here, and I can name you two players on their roster. One of whom I'm curious to see. I don't know if there's a prop bet on this. Will Sandy Alcantara, coming off Tommy John surgery, the opening day starter for the Marlins, will Sandy Alcantara, who won the Cy Young Award 2 years ago, is it possible that he will be traded during the course of the opening day game?
Yeah,
I
I
think
wanted
they're going
that
to
too,
unload
and I
him like
saw
in the
that.
fourth inning. He could be pitching a one-hit shutout, and you'll find out he's a Yankee by the end of the ballgame. Not much hope here. They really. I mean, I'm glad you're excited in Seattle for Major League Baseball. I mean, holy Ichiro! You would think he came back the way you're displaying this kind of enthusiasm. And a good friend of ours actually became the president of business operations for the Mariners. How are they received? They're still pretty popular, no?
Very popular, but I will say the team itself, or excuse me, the fan base itself hates the ownership group.
Oh,
The
really? Okay.
ownership group, they spent the least amount of money yet again, second year in a row. You've got the best team in baseball. If you go around the horn, I don't know how close you. I mean, Defo, they say this could be the worst infield in the history of baseball. The worst
That's saying a
infield
lot.
in the history. The first baseman, good old guy out of Pittsburgh, Rowdy Tellitz. I don't know if you remember Big
Yeah, he's
Rowdy.
huge.
Huge boy. He's playing first. Ryan Bliss, who's a minor league second baseman. JP Crawford's our shortstop, who's been awful the last 2 years. And then Jorge Polanco, you probably remember that name. He couldn't play second base for us, so now he's going to play third. And they said he committed the most errors of any third baseman in spring training history this year. So it could get ugly for the infield. I know that you could say, well, then how the hell did they win the West? But they really do got good pitching and a really good bullpen this year.
Yeah, Blanco not exactly Ken Caminiti out there or Greg Nettles with the glove. That's interesting, though. I mean, how bad is that American League West? If you just pointed out tremendous flaws in this team, holes like we haven't seen since O.J. Simpson had that lame alibi that he cut himself while he was breaking a glass in Chicago in some hotel as he was trying to get the hell out of town. But you have them winning the West at plus 250, which seems like a pretty short price.
Yeah, and they got a great outfield this year. You've got Randy Rosarena, Victor Robles, Julio Rodriguez. We signed our catcher last night. Uh, Cal Raleigh got 6 years, 105 million. One of the better catchers in baseball. So there's some bright spots. Every team's gonna have some holes. Mariners got a few in the infield, but I fully expect this team to be good this year.
All right, and Troy wins. You guys have been killing it all year long, a variety of different sports, even with that one where you got tapped on the chin with the Kraken. And you have to respect a guy who is basing his entire evening's betting activity on the Seattle Kraken going under a goal total.
Yeah.
Where do we find your information, and where can people get this kind of help? And again, you're like giving this stuff away, Troy West. Are you fueled by your own desire to lose money because you put a lot of time in, and then I'm seeing stuff like $9 for the week or whatever you had on?
Yeah, we're running all sorts of specials. We just launched an entire prop division. So we've got guys completely dedicated to props. That's really cool. These guys are doing an outstanding job. They got, talk about bad beats. They got burned last night. Over 27.5 points for Carl Anthony Towns. He had 24 at halftime and finished with 26.
No.
So that's how bad is that? Those prop guys have been outstanding. The website is troywins.com. The Instagram is It's Troy West. Everything's documented, guys. Come take a look. We're happy to help you guys out.
All right, dynamite job as always. I know you got many things going on today. We appreciate you coming on this early in the morning out on the West Coast, and we wish you all the luck in the world with all of your plays. Troy Wins, outstanding source for information, even if you're just looking for validation. You want to find out what Troy West and the boys are thinking. Thanks as always, Troy, for joining us. Have a great day, and good luck with all of your tournament plays.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Okay, Troy West, ladies and gentlemen, with us here on Bury Your Bookie. Tomorrow we'll have the professor. He's been right on top of his game. He's been dynamite here on Bury Your Bookie the last several weeks. I know we were getting just vats of hate mail and all kinds of disparaging remarks being made about the professor during the college football season, where he's usually outstanding. But he comes back and redeems himself in college basketball in the last few weeks. The man has been on fire. So he'll join us tomorrow and may even have a big board for you. We never know where he's going to go with that. So a little bit of entertainment mixed in with your wagering information tomorrow on the next edition of Bury Your Bookie.